guys already know you tune into Pretty Girls Love Hip Hop with the one and only Soleil at KAMP Student Radio. We're here with My Talks, and I got another special guest up in the building. I got Mr. Marley B over here.
Hi. What's up, guys?
How you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here, man.
Thank you for being here. It's a
course.
pleasure to have you up in the studio with us today.
Of course.
First, but let's just jump into who is Marley B as an artist, as a person. Tell us who you are.
Okay. Well, let's see. That's a deep question there. Yeah, for sure.
No, you can take your time breaking
So my
down.
name is Marley B. My real name is Marley Bertrand. That's my birth name. My mom was a big artist and was big into Bob Marley, so I was named after Bob Marley. Grew up in the music scenes. I used to live in Seattle for a while. My mom was a grunge artist, so I kind of grew up in the rock scene with a bunch of bands and stuff like that. And as I got older, I fell in love with hip hop and realized that I had a decent voice for hip hop and talking about my story and stuff like that. So just slowly grew into having that moniker of Marley B. It is my name, but just telling my story.
So it's kind of always been something that's a part of your life.
For sure. Yeah. I've grown up around the industry, so it's
At what age did you realize like this is something that you could pursue?
It was probably like 21 was when I really took it serious. I used to be an athlete, so I was trying to. I went to college for football. I was trying to be a football player. I was.
What college did you go to?
Mesa Community College. So that's why I was living in Mesa for a while. But yeah, I bounced around and realized that I wasn't gonna grow into that NFL size or speed. So I figured, I know how to rap. I used to freestyle at parties and make beats with the homies and stuff like that. And it just it made sense for me to follow that path. So yeah.
And so you're from Tucson originally, born and raised?
Born and raised, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
And then you just happened to get the opportunity out there in Mesa and
for sure. Yeah. So after high school I went out to Mesa to go play football and it just didn't work out the same way. So I moved back to Tucson shortly after, and that's when I started my music career.
Yeah.
So
do you feel that your music has always kind of been a passion that you've held, or is this something that you really just kind of fell into after, the whole football?
It's definitely been a passion. I was one of those kids that was kind of more in tune to different sounds compared to a lot of my friend group and people that are listening to the top 40 and stuff like that. I was more the guy that was like, oh, you got to check out this artist, trying to break ground with new artists and stuff.
Your friends went to you for the recommendations.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, I was the plug, so.
All right, so let's get into a little bit more of your music. So for me, you have like a very Southwest feel to your music. If you were to describe it to somebody who hasn't heard it before or is interested in getting into who Marley B is, how would you describe that?
I think my music is very like introspective. It's very true, right? Yeah. I'm not trying to use clickbait or anything like that to get views. It's very true to who I am and telling my story, and I think that people have been able to connect with that at an organic level compared to just getting on the next hottest beat and being able to rap really well. I want to have a story to tell and have a backbone to my music. So yeah, I feel like as me personally, I'm just like kind of a backpack introspective emo rapper kind of, so.
I found a lot in like the underground hip hop scene out here in Tucson. It is really more about the longevity of things and really just like, I'm gonna get out there and see if I can make a buck off this.
For sure.
But it's like I'm a storyteller. Like I have something to tell people.
We are like a CD market. Like we're not, people aren't going to Tucson and looking for the next best thing. So you're gonna have to have some sort of longevity rather than just being like, a comet that you kind of take off. We're not in LA, we're not in Atlanta, New York. So I think that longevity is a good thing to have, being from Tucson and being able to do the amount of shows that we do out here is something that a lot of these bigger cities don't get. The more I travel and see these different artists that they're like, this is my second time performing, and I'm like, you're already opening for so and so on your second time performing. Like we did 100 open mics before we ever got a chance to open for somebody. So longevity is a good.
But there's a value in that too, of not just being able to throw into that like second time opening how you're speaking to, because you actually had to hustle and earn your way up
for
there.
sure. Your show is polished at that point, right? So
when you go up there, it's like I'm a real artist. Like I'm really doing
for
this.
sure. We've been doing it for a long time. So it's conducive to honing in on your craft, and like I said, the longevity of it, man. You just got to keep it in, day out, and
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that too. To segue off of that, your song "Tomorrow" with Greaves, and it was DJ Hopa. Is that how I'm saying?
DJ Hopa.
Hopa,
yeah.
So "Tomorrow," you speak a lot about like to mental health in that.
Yeah.
Is that something that you prioritize in your life, and like how do you see that coming to life in the hip hop scene today?
Yeah. I mean, that Tomorrow track, it was big. I was locked up with COVID during the time that I wrote that song, so that was kind of that 2020 era where it was this very introspective and very like, okay, this is who I am. I got to face who I am. I'm alone
You're
for
stuck at
weeks.
home,
Yeah,
like,
for sure. I'm locked in. So, but yeah, I think that mental health is a big part of what I talk about. You know, I mean, in any music genre, I think that mental health is very important, especially with artists. You know, us creatives, we put a lot on the line, and a lot of times we're overstressed and overstretching ourselves. So,
100%, yeah.
but yeah, mental health is definitely very important to me, and it's something that I like to touch base in.
I'm glad that now in the hip hop space, you know, a lot of the bigger artists are really like talking about it, and creating that initiative to make sure that people know, like,
yeah, for sure,
this is a big part of who we are.
For sure, yeah, I feel like yeah, especially in today's day and age, you know, with the social media and the disconnect going on in the world, you know.
Hopping off of the Griefs, I know you just went out there in Seattle and did the after party show with him.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit more about what that experience was like, and even deeper than that, your relationship with him?
That experience was great, first and foremost. You know, Greaves is a big brother. He's a mentor to me. It was somebody that, you know, before I even started rapping, it was somebody that I looked up to. I would listen to his music when I was in high school, and was a fan, first and foremost, you know, and it's cool to see that relationship grow organically. And he took a liking to my music the same way I like his music, and he's definitely looked out for me 10 times through. And anytime an opportunity comes up on his plate that he thinks that I can fit the bill, then he's always throwing it to me. And that show was
That's
great.
A good person to have in your life,
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
He's been around forever. He used to rhyme with used to be on Rhyme Sayers with Atmosphere. So he was signed to
Were you at
Atmosphere
the
label.
Atmosphere show?
I was at the Atmosphere show. Yeah, for sure. Of course, of course. But yeah, he was signed with Rhyme Sayers for a long time, and he has a lot of game that he can put me on without me having to go through the same things that he had to go through.
Right.
I think that's important to pass on to the next artist
100%.
and not gatekeep.
Yeah, and that's something that we were actually just talking about with Ray, is how like a big part of like a lot of these people who are in the industry, they'll try and not share that information with you because it's like it's either going to take a buck out of their pocket, or it's something that they felt that they worked so
that
hard
they had
for,
to had to get to. Yeah, for
right.
sure, for sure.
But
and
you know, the way I see it, it's like if I have this knowledge, why not share it? Because I can give it to you, I can give you the blueprint, but are you going to know what to do with the blueprint?
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a balance, right? Because you don't want to give your secrets away to everybody. But if somebody has that kind of ambition and that juice, then absolutely, I'm more than willing to open up and tell them how I got to where I'm at. So
moving off that, so being that he's a mentor to you, are there any other like maybe some underground mainstream artists or any personal influences in your life that really inspire the way you approach your art?
Yeah, I mean, I was always a Strange Music fan. Tech Nine was always super big. You know, he's big in Tucson. He sells out every time he comes through. And that was one of the first hip hop shows that I went to that I was just like kind of awestruck.
Yeah.
So I've kind of mimicked a little bit of what he's done to take his career to where he has. But you know, there's a lot of influences coming from everywhere. You know, I got the big homie Murs, who signed me in Cash Lansky back in like 2014, which was our first opportunity in the industry, and we were able to tour with him and kind of learn the ropes and figure it out on our own from there. But yeah, the inspiration is there definitely from a lot of the independent backpack rappers and just the artists that I see getting it from the dirt and not having to go and go the major outlet way and shit like that.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of value in that too.
Yeah.
A lot of the projects that you work on credit multiple songwriters. Do you find yourself to feel more inspired when you're surrounded by these other creatives, or does the writing and the ideas spark in moments when you're alone?
Ooh, it's 50-50. It's 50-50, you know. Like a lot of times, like I'll be riding around in the car and I'll hear something while I'm by myself, and I feel less vulnerable writing by myself a lot of times. But sometimes it's good to get into a room full of creatives that kind of have an idea or a backbone to the song, and they can kind of guide you to make your lyrics fit whatever they had in mind.
That little push that you didn't know you needed.
Exactly, yeah. And it's always good to get more ears onto your project 100%. And you know, more opinions. So I'm not afraid of getting in a room with, you know, 10 other writers and figuring it out. So
when you enter a studio, what does that session typically look like for you? Is there something that you need to do, like a routine that you do every time you walk in, or something that you need to have with you?
You know, it's not a set routine, but I definitely like to smoke. You know, I like to drink a little bit and kind
get
of
the juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly. Get the creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
Be surrounded by the homies. That's a big thing. You know, a good vibe.
Definitely feeling comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah, a good vibe is very important to a good studio session. So, but there's nothing set in stone. A lot of times, I'll be at home, I'll hear a beat and just throw it on. I have a home studio and I'll just record there and just
nice.
send it out, get it mixed by Hoppa, and
So you work a lot closely with him.
Yeah, Hoppa is like my right hand man for sure.
Gotcha.
He signed me to Broken Complex back in 2020, 2021. Me and Hoppa have been working together. So my first like real national tour was with a guy named Dizzy Wright, and DJ Hoppa was Dizzy Wright's DJ, and that's how we kind of became homies, and just built an organic relationship from there. And he's a great producer. He's a great artistic mind, creative mind,
somebody who really supports you when you're going through your projects.
Yeah, and he has a studio in Los Angeles called Broken Complex Studios, and I go out there pretty often, at least
and that's
every other month.
The label too, right?
Yeah, it's the label.
It's an indie label out there.
Yeah, indie label in Los Angeles. So I travel out there as much as I can and try to get with him face to face to work, but a lot of times it's just sending stuff back and forth, because I'm out here in Tucson.
So is traveling like a big part of your life as an artist?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's your favorite place that you've been to?
Oh, that's a tough one. Should I say Jersey or what?
Yeah,
I should say Jersey.
There's only one right answer.
No, man, there's a lot of good places. I feel like Seattle is always a good city, and then Denver, of course. Denver is a close second. Denver is just a party city. It's always a good turnout for us. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Fire. That's dope. Okay. Outside of the music, what are some of your passions and interests? Because I already peeped that you got a crazy hat game. I've seen the spread.
yeah, for sure. I'm a big hat guy. I like to go out and support the scene, man. I feel like it makes me feel whole when I can go out and see these younger artists getting some stage time at Brick Box or Hotel Congress or 191 Sewell. Going out there and supporting the scene is a big thing. Collaborating with my homies like Tommy Will, Cash Lansky, getting in the studio with them is very conducive to what my goals are. So I always look for inspiration in other artists and how they're getting through their day-to-day life. And is there anything outside of music? Like, do you indulge in like drawing or sports? I'm not a big arts guy. I want to draw, but I can't draw.
No, me too. I'm having visions.
I'm like, that would look so cool if I could do that, but I can't do it. So man, I like to collect sports cards. I'm a big sports card guy. So
specific sport or
football?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a football guy. And then
so who's your team?
I'm a Seahawks fan.
Okay. Yeah. And who'd you have in the Super Bowl?
Philly, of course, dude. Nobody wants to see the Chiefs win, dude. We're tired of that. So I'm a big sports card guy. I like to gamble with the homies, do some FanDuel parlays, and
You're good at it?
No, I'm not good at it. No,
terrible
I'm horrible at it, but I still do it.
You have some advice or what?
I still do it. It doesn't matter. So.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fire. So in 2024 alone, you actually went on 3 tours, released 3 EPs, and had a few singles. Moving into 2025, what are some goals that you have music-wise, or some projects that you already know are in the works?
So I'm working on my next full-length album. I haven't released a full-length album since like 2018, 2019. I've done a lot of EPs. We do singles monthly, sometimes bi-monthly. Just keeping the foot on the pedal. When I first signed with Broken Complex, a big thing was I didn't have like a real good following with my listeners online. So we figured the more we can release and just continue to release, we'll get that trickle down of following, and then you can finally get into a position where releasing a project makes sense. You're gonna be able to make your money back.
Timing is everything.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of times, we will release these projects early on into our career, and 3 of the songs will get a video, and then 14 more songs will just kind of get shelved. And it felt like some of my favorite songs people weren't really listening to because we weren't promoting it. So doing this monthly thing where it's like, okay, I got a single a month, I'm going to promote that for the whole month. It definitely gives it a shelf life, and it's been able to take that listening 100%. So I'm working on a new project, new full-length album. It's called Body of Work. It's going to be like 14, 15 songs probably. And we're about halfway done. So should be out.
To look forward to.
In the fall. Yeah, for sure. So going to try to do an album release here in Tucson with that, and hopefully sell out wherever we decide to play. If it's Congress, 191, Brick Box.
That's
but
fire,
I'm always, we just released a song yesterday. We're always releasing songs.
Right,
so
and the consistency is also
for
key.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, it's just people's attention spans are so quick nowadays. So the more you can stay in front of their faces, it's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you see as an artist marketing, because I know you touched on it a little bit right now, is that something that was a challenge to you coming into this game, like understanding the business side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, I think any artist is going to have a problem with that at the beginning because you're mixing art with business, and
Right.
it becomes
It's two
muddy.
different worlds,
Yeah,
yeah.
it becomes muddy for sure. And there's a way to kind of figure out how you can stick to the art that you like to make and still gain the following that you need to
Right.
to be able to
So
suffice.
you feel like you have like a grasp on like what that looks like for you today?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. I think, like I said, signing with Broken Complex and doing these releases monthly has definitely, it's opened my eyes to a whole nother,
Right,
a whole
right,
nother
right.
world
And it's
of
nice
it.
to have
So,
that support behind you
for
to be
sure.
able to help you,
For
you
sure.
know, launch
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Dope. Today the single dropped, right? You dropped a single, the Una.
Yeah, the Uno. Yep.
Period. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to mention this for them so that they can get some promo up in there.
Appreciate that.
Period. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned the project that you're dropping soon.
Mhm.
You had a single drop today.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you want to plug right now that we should be looking for? Anything in those lines?
I'm still kind of in the
shows
gray
maybe?
area with shows right now. I'm
Yeah.
working on some shows. Nothing set in stone.
So basically, they gotta follow you to find out.
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. You can follow me. I'm always doing stuff around Tucson, whether it's local or it's a national touring act coming through town and they need an opener.
Yeah.
So it just kind of falls on your lap as it goes. Right now it's kind of in limbo, but I'm sure next week I'll have something on my plate that's gonna. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here at Pretty
Of course,
Girls at
dude.
Camp. It was
Of course,
amazing to
dude.
get to know you more.
Yeah. No, I
Tell them
appreciate
where they
you.
could find you on any social media platform, wherever it is.
You can find me at Ugly Ass Marley, all one word. That's my real name, Marley, spelled just like Bob Marley. You can find me at brokencomplex.com. You can find me downtown Tucson on a Saturday night, usually at Brickbox or one of these other places, and just trying to support the scene.
On Spotify, Apple Music.
Spotify, Apple
the shows.
Music, Google Play. Download it illegally on LimeWire. I don't know. Just burn a copy for your homies and play it for them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Really
Of course,
appreciate your
of course.
time.
Yeah.
Again, y'all are listening to Pretty Girls Love Hip Hop with the one and only Soleil on Camp Student Radio. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Slay.